Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Johnny Soto. Let's have some fun today.
Live Wednesday show, happy hour with the Windbags. And the reason why we're
Yeah,
live,
yeah.
Soto, we couldn't wait. We were too eagerly anticipating because we are 1, 2, 3, 4 motherfucking days away from Raider football, baby. So close.
So close.
So close.
Remember when I told you guys? It seemed like it was maybe a week ago. And I'm like, guys, we're like 97 days away. But trust me, it's gonna fly by. And now it's only 4 days. Told you guys.
It's so perfect that summer rolls into football season because summer always goes by too fast. And so it can just like speed by and get us to football. It's like the perfect end game for summer is that football is here. It's like the sun is shining higher, the grass is greener, chicks' booties are bigger. It's just everything's beautiful right now. We have to watch some
Big old
great college
thumping
football.
butts.
Yeah.
Ugh. Speaking of college football, what happened to those Bruins against those Utes, man? Good God.
Yeah. So what happens when you play an actual football team? Who does SC play? Eastern Missouri School for the Blind.
Missouri State, and we won like 77-13 or something. We did what we were supposed to do.
All women's secretary school of the Northeast. Is that
Look,
who SC played? Just powder
If
puffing.
we would have come out like the Bruins, it may have been 77-13 the other way.
Well, we'll never know because you played a bunch of disabled kids. So that's what happens.
At least we showed up. I don't know if you guys showed up.
So like I said, 4 days away till Raiders opening day. This is our preview show live. We'll take your super chats and chats throughout the course of the show. We will do anything to make the show happen, including have Soto roast in his car midday to make sure we get this out there on time. Whether in China or in a parking lot, we will bring you the Autumn Windbags come hell or high water. My expectations.
If you hear the hum in the background, that's my AC. Just deal with it. I'm not sitting in this car without the AC blasting.
If you hear hum in my background, it's my dildo. So depending on what you hear, whatever humming it is.
Someone's tipping him on his OnlyFans. His butt plug is buzzing.
I like to have a dual income stream, right? A live stream with Autumn Windbags and my OnlyFans at the same time. Expectations for 2025, 2026. Brand new owner, brand new head coach, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new quarterback, brand new running back. Same old Raiders. I don't know. We'll see. But this is the fourth head coach in 5 years season. It seems like every single season it's like, okay, a reason for optimism. We're changing things up. Fresh slate, yada, yada, yada. This season, though, Soto feels less like the house just got like another fresh coat of paint. It felt like it got gutted from the foundation up.
I think it feels that way, but there's more of a sense of let's make what we have here work. I think a lot of what happened in previous regimes, there was a lot of talk about, we gotta change things here. We gotta change things up, and not much changed. A couple players here or there. So this is kind of like the opposite of that, where smart decisions were made. People talk about the secondary and the linebacking core and all this stuff and all these changes. Well, they weren't all that good, and we'll see what they have going on this year. But a lot of figuring out. I think a lot of what we saw in the past was a lot of implementing. This is my scheme. This is my style. This is what I do. Let me get players that fit my scheme type of thing, as opposed to let's get the best players we can. Let's figure out what they can do well, and let's run with that.
So there's going to be a lot of experts, and whatever you guys consider us. Like we've been saying all offseason what we think is going to happen. Here's our analysis. Here's our tape study. Here's what the stats tell us. Here's what my eyes tell us. Here's what we're hearing. Trying to give you an example and like kind of paint a picture of what this offense will look like, this defense will look like, what this season will look like. Here's the truth. No one has a fucking clue. No one has an idea, man. Like Pete Carroll doesn't know. Tom Brady doesn't know. Geno doesn't know. When you have, like I mentioned, new owner, new head coach, new OC, new quarterback, new running back, a bunch of new faces on defense, recycling more or less the same O-line, it's like I don't know what it's going to look like. I think it's poised for the future. We know it got younger, so it should be less experienced, more athletic. It certainly got cheaper, but like what to expect? Like no clue. No, the defensive coordinator for the Patriots right now is just guessing. He's just like, all right, let's try our base defense. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much what, like, let's say a defensive coordinator with a new offense. You're looking at what Chip Kelly's done in the past. You're looking at the pieces that Chip Kelly has on offense. Then you're having to find pieces that are similar, that have similar skill sets to what he has now and what he's done in the past with them. It's a lot of work for a lot. It could be for a lot of work for a lot of nothing, because it could be a brand new thing that he's doing, that he's rolling out. Couple things that we know: Chip Kelly does like to run the ball. He does like to spread out defenses horizontally and take advantage of little lanes that pop up. And he likes to take deep shots. So how that's going to work, who they're going to use for what, we'll find out. It's all going to depend. This first few weeks are about anticipation, preparation, and execution, because you really can't study a team and tendencies before let's say week 4-ish.
I feel like this is and again, I constantly bringing it up. I really feel like not that the Raiders are tanking this season, punting on this season, not by any means, but I think they went younger and more inexperienced on purpose. We have, I think, the 6th or 7th most cap space on purpose. The only there wasn't really a lot of major additions personnel-wise other than Geno. There's some extensions, but more guys left than we picked up. This is a season where I think they're going to figure out who they are. And I think this season is going to be spent. They're going to play their ass off, try to win every game, but it's figuring out what kind of team we are. And I think it's built for more long-term than short-term. And it's going to be identity, right? Like Raiders have been playing with a fake ID for too long. Now it's time for them to be like, okay, like this coach isn't going anywhere for a while. Our quarterback, we got wrapped up. Like running back's a rookie, Brock Bauer 2nd year. Like the foundational pieces are here. How do we glue them together and, make a Mona Lisa?
Yeah, I think too often in the past, the coach has dictated what our identity was. We're going to be this. We're going to be that. We're going to be, Pete Carroll and company have come in and said, we're just going to work hard and compete and have a good time. And I almost got crushed by a Staples truck.
Oh my God. We would have had it on video. You would be able to sue him for $10 million.
Oh God. I would have stuck my arm out like, oh, my arm.
I didn't back you out of me.
Yeah. I broke my back. My back is broken. So, this is going to be, we're going to be who we are. And these first, all this mini camp and training camp and preseason, all this stuff, and the first couple of weeks of the season, we're pretty much finding out who we're going to be. And I think a lot of it is how we respond to things. And we're going to find out there's going to be some guys who were penciled in as starters who just maybe weren't going to be the guys to get it done to the level that we need to. So there's going to be some guys that surprise us. It's going to work both ways. So we just got to make sure that we figure out who those guys are as quick as possible and, get these guys going, because the quicker we can find out who are the guys we can count on, the quicker we're going to be able to kind of be humming.
That's what we call in this business a segue. We got a depth chart. Here's the offense. I don't want to say like any shockers, but they do have Amari Cooper as a backup on offense currently here. This still kind of blows me away that Jackson Powers Johnson isn't starting center. I mean, it's been the case for a couple months, but if you had told me that in January, I would have been blown away. But offense, if the O-line can hold it together, if the O-line can outplay the sum of their parts, this offense should put up points. It should put up some points.
Yeah, the offense, the way we see it right now, is geared to just be a pretty dynamic offense. You have dynamic players at the most important spots. You have dynamic players at the running back position, quarterback. You have tight end who's the best in the business. You got a couple of very steady receivers and some dynamic traits from some others. So there's some optimism, a sense for optimism here, and it's founded. It's not like it's coming out of nowhere. What we have to take a look at again, that's got to perform. You got to go out there and perform, and that's what we're going to find out soon.
Defense, certainly missing defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, that's for sure. Cornerback Darian Porter, currently not listed as a starter, at least on this depth chart. We'll see how long that lasts. Should a lot of question marks, obviously, in the back seven, and even at defensive tackle. Really, the strength will be in the defensive ends. Outside of that, it's a lot of brand new guys trying to figure it out, and older dudes that we're hoping can get a resurgence.
I'm not so concerned with the defensive tackles. Adam Butler, I like Thomas Booker. I think Thomas Booker has shown who he is in a small scale. We'll see if he can hold up throughout entire games. What we've seen from Tyree Wilson on the inside has been much better. I don't think he's lined up at end in the preseason when it really counted. I think he's been like a backup guy who's lined up at end in like the third or fourth quarter, or the second and third quarter, not in the first quarter of games. So we're going to see a lot of mixing and matching until we figure out who are the best guys for certain situations. But I do like the play of Butler and Booker. Those guys are going to be, I think, pretty solid on the inside. I like the fact that we got Lecky Fotu back. He's the run stopper dude. I think he's a guy that we can lean on a lot on short yardage and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I can't bring myself to wrap my head around a Pete Carroll defense having a bad secondary. I just can't wrap my head around that. As bad as we thought that they played against the Cardinals, Clayton Tune had like under 100 yards passing. So it wasn't like, the proof's out there. So we'll see against number ones how they do. And Kyle Blue Kelly, if his hamstring is great, he's going to start. If his hamstring can't go, it's probably going to be Greedy Vance brought up from the practice squad. But we'll see soon enough, man. I don't know, man. I know Pete Carroll too well for a couple. I know Pete Carroll too well to really get flustered about the Amari Cooper signing, because I know there's two schools of thought with young guys. Throw them out there and let them learn by failing, or what Pete Carroll does is let the young guys play, but only ask them to do certain things. So again, it's not one is right or no other is right. It's just a different philosophy. So the young guys are going to play a lot. And then also, I just can't find myself to wrap my head around the fact that Pete Carroll's going to have a bad secondary. So hopefully I'm right, and if the secondary is fine or even good, but again, we have to see it on the field.
And that's the other thing where no one really knows what the offense is going to look like with all those moving parts. And I don't think anyone's really going to know what the defense is going to be, because you're trying to merge. Because like Pete Carroll, obviously a defensive mind, and his players, he has a very specific style and body type, but his defensive coordinators, it's always been the defensive coordinator's scheme, right? Like he has his fundamentals and what he likes out of guys, but it's always whatever the DC is, the scheme's changed to that DC. So what's the merge going to be between Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll, specifically with the DBs? And also, Patrick Graham has not the most complicated scheme, but pretty complicated. Like when it was it Patrick Graham's first season, it was terrible because all our DBs got hurt. It was a bunch of dudes off the street that had like 45 minutes of practice, and they had to just do bump and run because they didn't have time to learn the scheme, right? And then the DBs got better the next few seasons because they had time to adjust to the scheme. So I think that's the big part too, is the way you scheme around. If you have a really athletic but green DB, you make a scheme where they succeed. The more complicated that is, the harder it is for a rookie or brand new DB to grasp. So it's like, what's going to win out? Do they simplify it so these young DBs can grasp it? Or do they complicate things to protect them from themselves, but risk fucking it up because they're thinking and not reacting?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. I think they're going to protect the young guys. They're going to do a lot more sophisticated things than they did in preseason, because we've seen it from Patrick Graham. Patrick Graham, I think, had one of the most percentage of zero blitz, where he just brought the house. So he's going to do that if he needs to, preferably not. If they can win up front with 4, then they can, really mix up their coverages and stuff like that. But with Pete Carroll, I think they're going to find the overlap. I think that there's quite a bit of overlap, and specifically in how they employ the safeties. They both like to play 3 safety sets, and I think that's going to work to the advantage, not only in the short passing game, but also against the run. You have a safety who's a little bit better against the run than a corner. I really do think that you're going to have guys out there full bore. It's just, what are they asked to do in the formation? So I think that you could put a rookie out there or a young player out there in a complex scheme, but just have them work a section or run a piece of that scheme that isn't very complicated. There's only a few things they have to really focus on. So there's ways you can do it. It's going to take a lot of preparation. Hopefully these guys have it locked in.
So we mentioned the one of the cheaper rosters in football, one of the youngest rosters in football, and that's highlighted by 9 rookies made the team. 11 drafted, 9 made the team, including like 1.5 starters. Ashton, Jeanty for sure. Dante Thornton, probably like a kind of a pretty heavy rotation guy, it looks like, depending on which depth chart you're looking at. And then Porter might be a starter on defense, but mostly these rookies are just on board to learn, get the team younger. And that's what's been sorely lacking from the Raiders is solid draft classes where, your number 1 and number 2 rounders produce right away, deliver right away, and everyone else develops and gives you depth moving forward, because depth is a major problem on this football team. That's because it spent the last half decade with shitty drafts. Now it's been back-to-back drafts that should add some depth. And again, JJ is probably not going to produce a whole lot this season, but in his 3rd year, we think that he should.
So what I'm thinking is we have to take a look at not only where we're building now for the now, but where we're building for the future as well. Like you said, there's not a lot of depth here. There's a lot of guys who are going to be asked to do quite a few different things. And there's guys that are going to succeed at things and some guys that are going to fail. We don't know who they are quite just yet. What everybody who's drafted in the NFL, they're like the most freak athlete of anyone you've ever met in your life. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter if you're an undrafted free agent or if you're a first rounder. All these guys are freak athletes. Okay.
Remember when Pat McAfee did his first WWE thing and he did a backflip off the turnbuckle like perfectly? This is a fucking punter who'd been retired like 8 years, and he's
with man tits.
And that guy's still more athletic than any one of your homies. A retired punter.
A dad bod retired punter had a broader back than the guys who were actually wrestling. Bigger gut, man tits, aerial assault. These players are all freak athletes. They could all play the game. What's the difference? You can't tell me that these executives and these guys who have all these teams of guys that are evaluating players, that there's some that are so much better than others. A lot of it is the situation that they're brought into, the coaching, the stability, how they develop. And that's a big thing that not a lot of people talk about. Pete Carroll develops coaches just as hard as he develops players. So he needs to make sure, and he's going to make sure, that all these players are going to get taught, not just get shown plays and get corrected, but they're going to get taught things. The way Pete Carroll does things with young guys is he doesn't ask them to do a lot of things. That's why that's why you see the Driscolls out there. That's why you see these guys that are brought in. They're like, who's this guy? Why are we bringing this guy in here? Well, because he's shown that he can do a few more things. Maybe not can do them great, but he can do some more things. Like, for example, Amari Cooper can do more things as a receiver than Dante Thornton can. But it's not to say that in the middle to the end of the year, Dante Thornton's not going to be the man, because he's going to get taught by gaining confidence and gaining experience by doing the things he can do really well initially. So you're going to see these young guys get spoon-fed all the way up until you're going to see one day you're going to see these guys, playing most of the games. So that's just the big question mark leading into this game, is who's going to pick up the things quicker, because all of them can do it. It's just who's going to pick it up faster.
SD Raider 619, thank you for the super chat. I never send super chats. You sound like
anyone.
Sound like a chick on 2nd Street. Oh my God, I swear I never do this to anyone, but you guys deserve it. Love when you guys argue. Realist and Best Raiders YouTuber, never stop podcasting. People are getting excited. People are throwing their dollar bills on our stage just because it's football season.
I've got a boner.
I know. Quick Raiders news, and then we'll get into Raiders Pats coming up on Sunday. Yes, I said it. Raiders Pats on Sunday. Antonio Pierce needs some money. You got a job. Former Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce is now an analyst on NFL Today on CBS Sports. He announced via Instagram. I can't wait to hear his breakdown of 2-minute warning coaching decisions. This is what I would do. In fairness, look, we got nothing against Antonio Pierce. Like he did his best. He did his best. He was just in over his head. What can you do? But I can't wait to hear what he says out there. Like if he's just straight up like, all right, here's what I did as a linebacker when I was in the Giants. Here's like what I could say in a huddle to get guys jacked up. Here's some insider info I know about Maxx Crosby. I'm all about it. But if he starts doing like coaching decision-making bits,
bruh,
we're gonna be making fun of him a lot on this show.
I can see AP sitting back, be like, "Yo, man, lay off the coach. Shit is hard, y'all. Shit's hard. Shit ain't easy, man. Damn." That's how they talk in Carson, dude. I know a lot of people from Carson.
He just backs every coaching decision ever made.
Damn, man.
Like, man, he went for it in 4th and 34. Yep. That's what you got to do.
Sometimes you just make a mistake.
He just has information that you guys don't at home. All right. You're sitting on the couch. You have no clue. You don't know what inside info he has. You got to be able to understand that. Just D'ing up every coach. Poor guy.
Emmanuel, hang on a second. Emmanuel Gray, stop it, bro. Stop it. I'm not saying he was given the best situation. I'm not saying that. No one is saying that. Okay? But just stop. He was bad. And he made bad decisions. Okay? Anyone who wants to bring this up and anyone who wants to fight for AP getting more than one season, he was the worst head coach that I've seen in a long time. His decision-making when the clock was ticking was really bad. Like, we're all family, we're all Raider Nation, and I get it, but just we got to call it what it is. He was in over his head. If you think he's a good head coach, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, there was nothing like, look, the decision-making, we're like, okay, he's going to be making bad decisions, right? He's just an inexperienced head coach. We made peace with that first season, right? But you're like, okay, he got the defense playing lights out the season before, that one half of the season that he played. And you're like, okay, he can make up for that in just getting these players to play hard, right? You could be a CEO coach, motivational coach, get everyone, taking all 5 fingers, turning into a fist and knocking the queefs in the face. He didn't do any of that. He did zero. He didn't, like, the things he did well, he stopped doing well. The things we knew he'd be bad at, he was even worse at than we expected.
He just clouded his own judgment by bringing too many hangers on, getting too many things, too many people in the room to just second guess every single decision. And he bounced around. It's like he didn't take control when he was supposed to take control. And he deferred on a lot of decisions to other people whose jobs weren't on the line. He put a lot of people on payroll that were just sitting there sucking up a paycheck. And that's unfortunate because I feel like he would have, I'm not saying the team would have done better, but maybe he would have done a lot better and shown a lot more than what he could do. But ultimately, that's part of coaching too, the decision making and the judgment, and it just wasn't there.
The Micah Parsons deal done. Raiders made a call, as it turns out, didn't get him. Kind of a long shot, but Spytek did make a call. Ended up not getting him. Remember when Maxx Crosby got his extension? And most of Raider Nation was like fully on board. Like, hey, obviously we want to keep him. That number's fair. Most of Raider Nation, I feel like, was like, yeah, that's the going rate for a player of his caliber and his age, blah, blah, blah. But there are a couple people that are like, I wish we could have got him for cheaper. Most expensive non-quarterback in the NFL. Fuck, that's a tough pill to swallow. And what do we say, Soto? We're like,
Couple days, he'll get passed up.
You're like, a couple days will be passed up, and I was like, by game 1, he won't even be top 5. I barely made it. I made it by $100,000. Micah Parsons, $47 million a year, number 1. TJ Watt, $41 million a year. Wide receiver Jamar Pace, $40.25 million a year. Myles Garrett, Jamar Chase. What did I say? Jamar
Pace.
Daniel Hunter, $35.6 million a year, and Maxx Crosby,
the Neil Hunter,
$35.5 million at number 6. Now, depending on whether you go to Over the Cap or Sport Track, Max can be 5 or 6, but I use the one that made me right. What do we say?
Right.
What do we say? You want to even be top 5 by the time the season starts.
Smart thing, man. It was smart to do. I think that we all felt that as soon as possible, it was a smart thing. I think it was like right after the draft, right?
Yep.
So as soon as Spytek was able to focus on his specific team as opposed to the guys coming in, he made it happen. And I don't think anyone's really tripping. I don't think Max is tripping on getting, overtaken by so much. I think he's just fine. I think he's perfectly fine.
And this is like the reverse Jerry Jones, right? Like what always happens? Who's ever paid latest, especially with like quarterback and premier defensive players, gets paid the most, right? Like you get these big, huge deals done as early as possible. One, you get it done before the draft to be able to make you like figure that shit out. You get it done before free agency, so you have time to figure out, let your chips get in order, and you can start like allocating cap, and you save money. The faster you do it, the more money you save. And so this was a nice feather in the cap for Spytek for making the deal. Like, it wasn't the number that was good by Spytek, it was the timing. And now Maxx Crosby's 6th highest paid non-quarterback. If he would have waited till now, he'd probably have the Micah Parsons number and would be paying him $12 million more a year for the exact same guy.
Crazy. Look, I couldn't care less what happens with the Cowboys. I just sit back and shake my head how arrogant and idiotic Jerry Jones is. Just, I mean, have you heard what was going on? Like from what Jerry and his son, was it Steven, said, they had tentatively agreed to a framework with Micah Parsons, but he's like, "Well, I don't want to sign anything until my agent comes in." My agent comes in and takes a look at things, and they're like, "No, we don't want to talk to your agent." We're like, "What? Wait, what?" Oh, I just can't. I don't understand the line. And before the trade happened, from what Micah Parsons' agent said, that he reached out to the Cowboys again and said, "Look, we want to hammer something out during this dead week. Let's figure it out. Let's see what we can do." And they're like, "No, he plays on his 5th year, or we're going to trade him." I'm like, "Whoa!" So you went from having an agreement loosely to you're going to play on your 5th year. Oof, man, that is. Oh man. That's tough to swallow. If I was a Cowboys fan, that would be tough for me to swallow.
Jerry cares more about the reality show than the end result. Period. He's like, "Oh, can I drag this out? How can I get huge headlines?
Oh, God.
How can I make this how can I do 9? How can I get 9 press conferences out of a no-brainer signing of one player?" How?
Let me ask you a question, RJ. When you select a player in the first round, what's your goal?
to drag out his negotiating in year 4 and cause a giant.
No. Seriously. What is your goal?
To have him be a franchise player for 15 years.
So when you have one, why trade him away for the 2 extra shots at it when you're like to get a translational player?
Hey, it's 2025.
It's like maybe one out of 50,
for a transgender player.
Maybe 1 out of 50. Maybe once every 2 years, there's one of those guys. Mm. So you have 1 out of 50, 1 out of 60 chance of doing that, just to get 2 extra cracks at it. But you already have them there. Oh man, that's why I was so against the freaking Khalil Mack trade. It's like, dude, what are you thinking, man? And then now, I don't understand this type of ego when you're driven by ego instead of driven by winning. And it's just, and the way, and to hear him having to sell that to the Cowboys fans, well, we got 2 extra picks. Yeah, well, guess what? The Packers are going to be pretty damn good. You're going to be picking in like the high 20s, maybe even low 30s. With the Packers, you're going to get an extra bad pick. Like, oh, as far as the first round pick, a bad first round pick goes, I don't know, man.
And Jerry's counter is like, yeah, but the 30 for 30 is going to be so good. You're not thinking about the 30 for 30, Soto. Your priorities are all wrong. That's Jerry's mind. And honestly, like, look, Micah Parsons is unbelievable. I think it was defensive DVOA the last season. The Cowboys were number 1 on defense when Micah Parsons was on the field, and 32nd. They were literally last when he wasn't. Like, that's how big of a swing he can affect. But I will say this, man. I'd rather have Maxx, because Maxx can stop the run. Micah doesn't. You run at Micah with a big running back, and he's nowhere near the same defensive player. Whereas Maxx Crosby plays every snap, just as good against the run as he is against the pass. Give me the Condor over any of these motherfuckers in the top 10. Brandon Fiera, what do you think will produce more this season? Tucker or Thornton? Love y'all show. Best on the internet. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. I think it's going to be Thornton by sheer volume. I think Thornton by volume. I like the way that they used Tucker in the preseason. They didn't use him for the deep shots. That's Thornton's job, right? Just Tucker can't go out and he can't out jump and out fight these guys at 5'8", 5'9". He just can't do it. But Thornton at 6'5" can. So they used him. One of the things that I was really noticing in a lot of the preseason games was the cushion that they were giving both Thornton and Tucker. If you notice, a lot of Tucker's routes were running straight at the defender and then breaking back. And those are timing routes, and it took a lot. It's going to take a lot for Geno and Tucker to get on the same page. But I don't see Tucker being a deep threat as far as like just the catch. I see him maybe being a run after catch guy. If he gets a 60-yard catch, it's going to be, a 20-yard pass, and then he's going to run the rest of the 40 yards. But I see Thornton being that guy who catches a 60-yard bomb. So I think Thornton's going to be from sheer volume, it's going to be Thornton.
Well, like we opened the show with, I have no clue at all what this offense is going to look like, but I will say I'm 99.999% sure that Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Spytek, Brady, and company want Dante Thornton to produce more because they want their rookie player, who's the freak athlete built like Randy Moss meets Megatron, to be that, right? And so I think because it's again not a tank season, but I think it's a lot of youth, a lot of salary cap, see what we got, find our identity season. They're going to try to make Dante Thornton a thing. They're going to not force, but like they're going to make him be the X. Maybe Trey Tucker, even if Trey Tucker's 15% better, they're still going to go Thornton because he's the rookie with the physical skills and they want him to develop and they want him to be something special. So I think I can't tell you who's going to produce more, but I can tell you the Raiders want Thornton to produce more. And I want Thornton to produce more. He's 6'5", runs a 4.3. Like it's worth making it work. It's worth letting him not run the right route a few times, play a couple more plays than Tucker, Get him in there. Maybe he's not quite grasping the playbook as well as he should, but if he's close enough, it's worth making that risk because the risk is that high. And again, we're not, pushing all our chips in this season. It's a find your. I like this way to frame this season, Soto. Not like a punted season, not a figure, but a find your identity season. I think is the best way to put this season.
Yeah, it's worth it with the physical traits, with the physical tools. It's worth maybe watering down the offense a little bit to keep Thornton out there than to have. And we're assuming that Tucker knows the offense better than Thornton does. We're assuming that. But if that's the case, it's worth it to try to develop Thornton a little bit more because of what you're getting is going to be such a bigger return.
And he's younger, right? And he's 2 seasons younger.
I don't think they care about that. I think his ceiling is a lot higher with his physical traits.
I think Spytek for sure cares about that. Whether the coaches do or not, I'm not sure. Are you ready to break down a football game?
I'm ready to rock, man.
Are you ready to discuss a National Football League game between the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots? A game that will be played this Sunday, 10 a.m. in the West, 1 o'clock in the East on CBS for all to see. And it's going to count, and it's going to matter, and it's going to be Week 1 football. Are you ready, Soto?
Yeah, man. Let's get to it. I got about 5 minutes.
All right. Patriots -2.5 favorites at New England outdoor. We're going to make that will always be talked about every game because of how Geno Smith plays. New coaches on both sides. Obviously, Mike Vrabel there, Pete Carroll here. These are 2 teams that the experts, like the national experts, have both picked that the franchises are trending up. Should be, I think, almost everyone when they list their like top 5 potential to be most improved teams, they talk about New England and Las Vegas. Raiders injury report: Lonnie Johnson Jr. IR, Aiden O'Connell IR. Obviously, Kenny Pickett questionable. Kyle Blue Kelly cornerback questionable. On the Pats, 3 guys on IR: Polk, Tavai, Robinson. Stephon Diggs questionable, although I think they were saying he was probably going to play. The big one, Christian Gonzalez, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, questionable. 2.5-point favorites, the Pats.
Yeah, I think that both of these teams are going to they're surprise teams on the come up for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the core is a lot younger with the Raiders that they brought in, the rookies at the playmaking positions and stuff like that. I think it's the opposite with the Patriots. They went big name spending to fill the gaps that they needed to fill. It's going to be a tough game up front. Their D tackles, Barmore and Milton, are really good. They're disruptive players, and they have some new linebackers. A guy that we know in Spillane. So it's going to be a physical game up front, and we're going to find out a lot about ourselves in early in this game.
Spillane revenge game. I'm hoping that Chip dials up some like play action play that isolates Brock on Spillane, and Brock just torches
Brock's
him.
Going to use Spillane, dude.
Brock they do some clever shift to isolate Spillane on Brock. Little play action. Brock runs up to Spillane like he's gonna hit him, cuts it outside. Geno hits him in stride, and then Spillane with his horse collar, just running behind him, 10 yards behind, unable to catch him. That'd be beautiful. Nothing against Spillane. He played great for us, went and got the money, whatever. But recognize.
I mean, it's a revenge all over. There's Spillane. There's Josh McDaniels. Pete Carroll got fired from the Patriots. So that's just window dressing. That's just sprinkles on top. So the big thing is coaching wise, who's going to be able to anticipate better and who's going to be able to execute better. That's it. Because right now, you don't really have anything on tape, like I said earlier. You got to be able to anticipate what the other guy is going to do. It's going to be a tough game, and it's going to be close. It's picked to be close for a reason. I think these are both 2 teams that are on the come up. It's just going to take a couple of breaks here and there to see who's going to win this one.
Yeah, if the Raiders were at home, the Raiders would have been favorites. I mean, that's just how close it is. Talk about different type of coaches. Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel, like happy-go-lucky versus stick up his ass coach. Chip Kelly's like chewing gum and blowing bubbles, and Mike Vrabel's just like, I want to chew on some nails and poop them out in the shape of playbooks. Two completely.
Mike Vrabel basically forced him out of his last job. He forced himself out of his last job, which is
does not play well with others.
Yeah, that was kind of strange. But look, ultimately, what we're looking at here is there's a lot of talk about Christian Gonzalez, and I was watching some Patriots coverage, and if they really think this way, they're in trouble. Because what I heard a theme was there's nobody on the Raiders receiving or pass catching core that you have to double when you have Christian Gonzalez. I would like to see him one-on-one with Brock Bowers. I would like to see him try to cover one-on-one outside with no safety help against Dante Thornton. We'll see. Because anytime I've ever seen, and I watched a lot of film of Dante Thornton, even in preseason film, when he is not when he doesn't have a safety rolled over the top of him, he wins every single time. So we'll see if that holds true, if he even does play.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to do I saw the same thing, and I like how it got blown up in Raiders coverage, because the guy was just like, well, the Brock Bowers is obviously fantastic. Jacoby Myers is super underrated, but I think it was kind of like, well, they don't have one like, Jamar Chase or anything. It's like, but it got blown up, and I'm glad that it did, right? I want people to get pissed off at the Pats. I wonder if they're going to do the old Belichick special where the number one target threat, they double team, and then they use their best coverage corner on their number two, and how they view that hierarchy, right? Like, does anyone outside of Raider Nation like really have their eye on Dante Thornton? They're like, I think most guys are like, oh, it's a 4th round rookie that like barely produced at Tennessee. Like, why are we scheming around him? Which is why I feel like Chip Kelly was forcing Dante Thornton deep balls in preseason, because if Chip can get opposing defensive coordinators to lose sleep over a 4th round rookie wide receiver, when you've got Ashton Jeanty, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Jacoby Myers, you have all these other weapons. And if you're worried about Dante Thornton, that's great. That means you're like, you're not caring about something else, right? You only have 11 players. You can only scheme so much defensively. And if you have to spread all that out across, that's why it's so great that no one has a fucking clue what this offense is going to look like. Do you double team a 4th round rookie? You might have to, or maybe he hardly even plays. Nobody knows.
That's the beauty of it being week 1. You see a lot of teams New England was terrible, and they won week 1 last year against the Bengals. That's the game that kept the Bengals out of the playoffs, So it's about preparation and execution. But all right, guys, Artie's gonna take you home the rest of the way. I gotta take off, so peace.
Get to work, fucking slacker. So my number one wish, my hope and dream, I'm throwing a penny into the NFL fountain and making a wish. The best coaching dynamic, the best rivalry isn't Pete Carroll versus Mike Vrabel. It's Patrick Graham versus Josh McDaniels. Our defensive coordinator versus the Patriots offensive coordinator. Josh McDaniels, obviously, one of the most disliked coaches to ever walk through the doors of Raider Nation. Just a piece of shit by every possible metric. As a human, as a coach, as a roster evaluator, as a motivator, as the CEO, just absolute garbage. He has been terrible. Josh McDaniels has been terrible as a coach literally everywhere he's ever been, unless he's had Bill Belichick. He was trash with the Broncos as a head coach, lasted a season and a half. When he went to the Rams as an offensive coordinator, they're the 32nd offense in football. Obviously, he destroyed the Raiders roster and any good juju coming from the season before with Rich Bisaccia. Like, he took over dude, Josh McDaniels took over a playoff team that was vibing beautifully under Rich Bisaccia, that outplayed itself amazingly, and then spent huge money and gave away 2 draft picks for a great wide receiver on Chandler Jones. That obviously blew up in his face. He is the biggest, he's public enemy number 1 for me in the NFL. More so than the tight end that will remain nameless in Kansas City, more so than the quarterback in Los Angeles. Like, I hate Josh McDaniels more than any other human being in NFL football. This defense probably isn't going to be good this season. Raiders defense probably not going to be great, right? Call a spade a spade. Young, inexperienced. Christian Wilkins didn't stick around. Okay, I've made peace. I'm okay with the Raiders defense being bad for 16 of the 17 games this season. I only want Patrick Graham to field a great defense one time, and that's week 1 against Josh McDaniels. I don't care if the defense is trash for the next 16 weeks, right? This is a find your identity season. That's fine. But I want Patrick Graham to bust out every trick in the book and embarrass Josh McDaniels on Sunday. Because Josh McDaniels took Raider Nation, kicked us in the pills. He's got wide feet, so he probably got both of them. Took all that guaranteed money from Mark Davis, took a year off and vacationed, and now he's back, tail between his legs in New England. That's my hope. That's my dream. That's my joy. Is I want Josh McDaniels and this New England offense to suffer, and Patrick Graham to just donkey punch him. I want that so bad. Drake May, obviously, in 2024 as a rookie, 12 starts, completed 66.6% of his passes, 2,276 yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, semi-decent production for a rookie on a terrible team, right? I'm hoping Josh McDaniels makes him terrible like he does to every quarterback not named Tom Brady. That's fingers crossed that happens. The other thing I want to look at I'm going to have my eye on the most on Sunday, Raiders O-line versus the Pats. I'm sorry, Raiders D-line versus Pats O-line. There's 2 rookies on the left side of the Patriots O-line. 4 out of 5 of their starting linemen are new. And the Raiders D-line is coming off all kinds of injuries, right? We don't need to go through all the injuries of this D-line, right? But the 2 best players on our defense coming off of season-ending injuries. If this D-line, this is a nice way to kind of segue into the season for this D-line. This, on paper, is a terrible O-line for the Pats. God-awful. Unproven, injury-ridden, brand new, dog shit. Hopefully, and on paper, Maxx Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz should feast. They should eat. And I think it's the left side of the Pats, which is all new. Who's ever, I think Patrick Graham's going to start rotating guys. Whoever's on the left side, even if they're double teamed, even if that rookie left tackle and rookie left guard double team either Crosby or Kuntz, you can still beat it. That's just how green and terrible they are. All right, let's take some questions before we bone on out of here. We went from the worst wide receiver room in the league to best in AFC West. ASAP Hood Goat. Bold claim. I mean, wide receivers I don't think we have like a superstar the way some other are like really credentialed. I would say pass catchers. I would say best pass catchers in the AFC West for sure. Because I'm including Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, even Ashton Jeanty. Zay, I got us at top 12 offense, bottom 5 defense. Hopefully that lands us a good quarterback in a good quarterback class. Yeah, man, I keep saying our offense will go as far. Yeah, there's 2 things that can possibly hinder this offense, right? A, they just don't, it takes time to merge. It just takes time to take all these moving pieces and have it meld. That happens, right? That's not even like, oh, it's so crazy how it didn't work out. Like, that's pretty common, right? You put all these great pieces together and it just doesn't meld well, right? Again, new owner, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new quarterback, new starting running back, bunch of rookie wide receivers. There's just a possibility, right, that it just doesn't meld well, or it takes a lot longer to meld than we're hoping. That's a very real possibility. The other thing is the O-line. O-line, it was not good at all last year, and it's not that different this season. It really isn't. Now, so many O-lines are better than the sum of their parts. Chip Kelly needs to scheme that and make it so. But again, historically, and with Chip Kelly, he's been changing, he's been adapting. So who knows if this is going to continue to be a major issue? But if there's been one key problem with Chip Kelly, is that he asks a lot of his O-linemen. His protection schemes aren't as good as his like run blocking schemes and routes and play calling. Like he asks a lot of his O-line. He really does. And this O-line still kind of figuring out who he is, right? Sam Demand, what do you think about our O-line coach? That's what we call, again, in this business, a beautiful segue. So it's Pete Carroll's son. And there's a lot of like, people immediately point to nepotism anytime anyone's related to anybody in any sort of job that people want, right? No one complains when the foreman of a factory who's been there 30 years, his son comes in and starts on the bottom and gets a job there, right? Like people don't care about that. They care when it's, oh, this multi-billionaire gave his son $500 million to be a hedge fund manager. Like, yeah, that's the shitty nepotism, right? And so we often complain about the nepotism in football. It's like, oh, Pete Carroll, like, look at Bill Belichick, right? He loaded up that roster with like his sons, or roster, but the coaching staff with his sons. And look what happened to North Carolina on Saturday, right? Sunday, Monday, this weekend. Who gives a shit? With Pete Carroll, his sons have at least been moving around and working. But the O-line coach's son, he's never been a head O-line coach before. He's been an assistant. He's not like unfamiliar with it. But this is a situation where I really hoped they would get like a really good O-line coach, like a credentialed, experienced, proven O-line coach. Obviously, we want that with every position coach, but I really would have liked it at O-line. That would have been really, really nice. So we'll see if Pete's son can put this together, because he hasn't shown he's been able to do it before. Now, is this nepotism in a good way, where Pete's been grooming his son for all this time to be able to take this position and be the man? We'll see. Like, again, no one's complaining about nepotism with the 49ers, right? With Shanahan. Everyone's like, oh, it's bullshit. He's only got this job because his dad won 2 Super Bowls. Like, yeah, well, he's good, right? Like, nepotism is great if you're teaching your son to be great. Like, if Pete's been teaching his son since he was 5 years old, blocking schemes and protection calls, and now he's the Raiders O-line coach, like, that's good nepotism. That's someone who's been groomed for the job. Or is it nepotism where it's like, yeah, my deadbeat son can't get a job anywhere else, and I just want to be I want to be close to my grandkids, so I'm gonna bring all my sons to Las Vegas so we can have Thanksgiving dinner. I don't have to drive too far, right? We shall see. LGL Studios, thoughts on what Amari Cooper will do this season? He said all the right stuff at his presser to potentially have a redemption type season. Just curious. Would love to see him do well. So, couple things. What will his role be with the Raiders, Amari Cooper? Hard to say. Is he going to be my big issue? This is where Soto and I fought was I don't want him taking reps away from younger wide receivers who really, really need the reps, right? Betch, Thornton, etc. Like, I'd much rather them get the reps on a, finding your identity type season. So who's he going to take reps away? I don't like that. But was his production the last season and a half purely due to injuries that are just like superficial? Like, okay, he hurt himself, he recovered, and now he's back to 100% Amari Cooper? Or is it the guy who's on the wrong side of 30 who's lost explosion, the wheels are coming off? Which one is it? Because I'll tell you what, man, the explosion's not quite there. he can still make up for it with smooth route running and smarts and experience and, all the veteran tricks you learn when you've been in the league for a dozen years. But like that separation isn't coming from explosion. That separation's coming from route running and being smooth, because he's just not that same guy. So he's barely been on the team for 45 minutes. He's had a cup of coffee here and nothing so far. So we'll see how he does. But it would be a career resurgence. Let's put it that way. Be able to turn things around. All right, that'll be it for me. I got to get out of here, hopping on a plane to Paris. The UFC is in France this weekend. So my poor ass will be trying to figure out, praying to the Wi-Fi gods on Sunday that I can watch the game live, or I got to mind the spoilers and watch it taped. So no live show here on the Autumn Windbags. Soto's got you covered at his Raiders versus the World YouTube channel. Make sure you go there for your post-game coverage. It's football season. We're here. We're back, baby. We're back. I'm so excited. Until next time, knock on wood if you're with me.
Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.